Alright, Assalamualaikum. We meet again and a very good day to all of you. Today I will be continue on topic 6 of the consumer lending because on your Thursday class you will having free quiz 6. So I think that um, there is some more suitable in order to do this video lecture. Okay, so I will start on consumer lending. Alright, so as you can see, consumer learning topic 6. So after learning this chapter, the student should be able to identify the elements of the consumer learning, explain the behavioral learning theories, and 6.3, comprehend the cognitive learning theories, and number 4, discuss the majors of the consumer learning. Alright, so this is the starting one. In terms of the consumer learning, are these products are likely to succeed? Okay, for those who don't like to eat vegetables, okay, so this is how they create some products regarding, especially the kids, right? So what they do something like, um, I might say it's like a porridge, okay. So they use these kinds of things like using like some porridge, okay, and then some using drinks, okay, in order to, for those who are can using these tactics to give their kids to, you can still also consume vegetables and at the same time using this kind of product, okay. So inshallah this product will be succeed by Campbell. Okay, so I think that this product might be not in our country, but in other country, yes. So they say here, these ads might induce learning due to the familiar name. Okay, um, yeah, because of it's from Campbell, so people will regard this information and these products with Campbell products. Okay, all right. So what is learning? Okay, so learning is how the process that not only just in the class, I'm lecturing you right now, and then you are listening to me, watching me, and in the class also like you attending my class, and then I'm also lecturing you in the class. So the process of learning is not like just like that, okay? Because when we're talking about learning, it's the process whereby you are might be surrounded by the environment of the people who are teach you indirectly. Okay, for example, your parents can be your friends, it can be your lecturers, your teachers. Okay, so the process of learning it takes time since our small kid times until we are grown up. Even we are almost in the oldest time also, we still learning. Okay, I remember as certain what we call verse right? What where we are learning is not just stop in until China. Actually is up to until we are in under 7 square feet. Okay, so what is the learning? The process by which individuals acquire the purchase and consumption knowledge and experience that they apply to the future related behavior. So in here from the text saying that when we purchase, we consume certain things, of course, we have to make sure that we have that knowledge, okay? And of course, the first and foremost is about the experience because, of course, sometimes we are the first time buying something product, right? So we don't have the experience, but we can gauge certain knowledge, we can earn, we can cost, we can do some research. This is how we, the process of learning. So the process of learning is not just open a book and then you learn from your teachers, from your friends, but it's somehow your attitudes, your behavior, on how you want to learn something. So this learning definition is based on the concept of prospective consumer behavior. Alright, so it is important to realize that it's a process that is changes over time. It's drastic. No, sorry, it's not drastic. It's dramatically slowly changing, okay, from time to time, okay. And as you can see in here, over time as the new knowledge and experience are gained by the consumer, of course, when we already maybe first time buying the certain products, and then of course after the second time is already have the experience, okay, and new knowledge and experience serve as the feedback, okay, to the consumer and will influence their future behavior. So if I have a positive experience, of course I will repeat. That's why they said, if you are repeat order towards satu products, towards one product, meaning to say the experience is good. But if you are maybe first time, and then that might be the first and last, maybe you got something like negative experience, so you will not repeat to purchase the products, right? Okay, so we go to the next one. Okay, the elements of the learning theories is have four here. We have motivation, cues, response, and reinforcement. Okay, so when we're talking about motivation, okay, if you realize there is something like a red color, okay, as I told you in the previous my lecture, this is some of additional note that I want you to have some, I make it something like simplified to make you understand well. So motivation is about unfilled needs leads to the motivations. So when they say unfilled needs, meaning to say ada keperluan, something like needs that you need to fulfill. So when you have something like unfilled, it's blank there. So it actually motivate you to do something. So it's important because it will differ from one consumer to next. Maybe my field needs right now, yeah, example, I'm hungry. Maybe your friends, their needs is might be thirsty, or maybe the other one, I need house, I need something like shelter, I need some clothes. So there will be unfilled needs. Every person, every people will have a different, every consumer have a difference of their motivation. Okay, so when we're talking about cues, okay, um, okay, I repeat again with the motivation just now. When we have like hungry just now, your motivation to fulfill your needs is by, of course, you have to have find the food, right? So they say in here they have cues, okay, stimuli that direct the motive. It is stimulus that help direct a consumer motive. So what is stimulus? Okay, stimulus in here, the motivation you want to react towards that one. I feel hungry just now, the motivation, I must find the foods. So what direct me to buy the food? I have to find certain like place, shop, restaurants, or street hawkers to find the food, for example, right? If let's say I'm thirsty, I think raining outside, right? Okay, I have to bit louder. Okay, so when Allahumma su'ifan nafi'ah, right? This mustajab doa during that is raining time. Okay, so when we're talking about cues in here, so meaning to say it helps how to direct the consumer motive. So if let's say you're thirsty, you find something like vending machine, you find some shop that's selling like ikat tepi, okay, bungkus tepi, okay, drinks, for example, goes to 7-Eleven, let's say, Alright, so response, we're talking about the consumer reaction to the drive or cue. So the response is how the consumer behave after being exposed to the cue or developing motivation. So we might be start the car, we might be order, we may maybe call some like from the Grab Foods or maybe Food Panda, okay, to send our food and drinks, for example. So there is a reaction to that. So you maybe 1-300-888-888, for example, to call your pizza. Okay, and then we have reinforcement, increase the likelihood that a response will occur in the future. The future as the result of the cue. So this is something like the probability that the response will due to the reinforcement. If I able to get the contact, I able to call and then go through, we fill out the forms, everything to order the food. And then of course, it's something like reinforcement to me to do and repeat again the same action if it's success. If not success, of course, I will might be not repeat again. So there's a reinforcement, okay? It's actually forcing forces, factor to go for that. Alright, so we go with the next one. We have two major learning theories. We have behavioral learning and also cognitive learning. Alright, so behavioral learning is based on the observable behavior responses that occur as the result of the exposure to stimuli. So when I observe something, so I see you, for example, um, I realized that when I observe, okay, let's say you are always come maybe early to my class, let's say. So your behavior, okay, is tendency to be this the person, this student is very good. This student is very punctual on time, okay. So this is a result of I will have a good perception towards these students, for example, okay. So we observe, we monitor, okay? So cognitive learning, learning based on the mental information processing, so often in response to problem solving, okay? So maybe I should give some example regards to the consumer behavior perspective, right? So let's say you want to go with the observable behavior, okay? Maybe you want to go to one restaurant, for example. So you might be observed, okay, every day, maybe nearby to your working place, nearby to your school. So you might say, I realize every day from Monday to Friday, there is lots of the student going to this restaurant, going to this shop, going to these street hawkers, for example. I think maybe the food is very delicious. So you observe it, okay? Because due to the potency, many consumers go there, okay? And for the cognitive learning, something that you based on the mental information processing. Okay, mental information processing, you mean to say when you want to learn something, you have to actually think it twice, triple times, or four times before you make something like process to proceed with the purchasing. Example, you want to buy first car, you want to buy first house. So we learn, okay, we have to survey whether this car is very good car, suitable for us, whether it I afford to buy, to pay every month, whether the installment, okay, the down payment is enough, or maybe I'm afford to pay or not, okay, without have any financial constraint. And then if let's say the first house, whether this house is suitable for me, let's say I'm single, so I'm looking for apartment, for example, or if I'm already married, for example, whether this apartment is very enough for me. If I have a kid, maybe is it enough for me? So whether the location is strategic and whether the price is worthy for that kind of the house. So this is something like cognitive learning, how we think, okay, deeply. I can say we think uh, more constructive in order to make sure we make the good decision. All right. So the 6.2 is about the behavior learning. Okay, so we have a lot of the theory today. So we have classical conditioning and instrumental operant conditioning. So what is classical conditioning? Okay, so behavior learning theory, according to which a stimulus is a pair with the another stimulus that elicits a known response that serves to produce the same response when used alone. So this is one the definition. Okay, so they said they have to pair together, okay, to make sure that they have something like the same response. Okay, okay, example. Okay, let's say when during our school kid times, right? Okay, until secondary school, primary school, okay, when the break time, what do they hide? When we heard something like the the bell ring, uh, the bell is ringing for the long time, for example, something like treat, something like that, right? So we will say, oh, it's the break time. So now we stop the class and we go to canteen, for example. Okay, that is example, classical conditioning. It has to be make pair in order to make sure that we can take the action, because we know what is the kind of the action that we can use to do our action. All right. So example, during Ramadan time, what we are waiting for, we can eat any time, right? If you want, but because our religion, what they said, after the breakfast will be after the dawn. So meaning to say after the Maghrib, okay, Maghrib prayer, meaning to say Maghrib time is the time for breakfast. So after we heard this azan, okay, of course, people waiting for this uh, azan Maghrib, right, during Ramadan time. So we are totally already in the on together with the family on the table, and then waiting for the azan, and then of course we will breakfast after we listen to the azan, right? So this is classical conditioning. It must be action that been taken in order to together in order to make sure that we react to the same response. Okay, all right. So in here, they give something like example. Sorry, okay, they give some example on the classical conditioning. Okay, meaning to say models of classical conditioning. Okay, they said if you realize from this can I say diagram? Yeah, okay. Unconditioned stimulus is the mid pace, and then conditioned stimulus is the bell, okay, locking, and the unconditioned response is salivation. And then after repeated the pairings, okay, conditioned stimulus bell and the bell is keep ringing. and totally the dog will have salivation. Okay, this is we're talking about the circumstances situation where is the dog, dog. Okay, many of you will familiar with the Pavlov dog. This is theory, yeah. According to this situation, actually I already tell you just now, but we repeat again. Okay, according to this situation, it sounded a bell that applied the meat paste on the dog tongue. Over time, the dog began to associate with the bell with the meat paste. Okay, so eventually, when the Pavlov rang the bell, the dog will salivate. Salivate ni maksudnya mengeluarkan air liur. Okay, and because he's expected the meat paste to be applied, so dog is already been trained. Every time ring, something like the bell is ringing, so there will be something like in the tongue since saliva, and then waiting for the meat paste to be given to the dog, something like that. So when keep repeating the ring, okay, the bell is ringing, so it will listen to it, and then automatically the saliva will be occur. So this is what we call as the model of classical conditioning that I told you before. If you still remember, that I told you just now, when let's say unconditioned stimulus in here, we put into like in our condition, we are breakfast. Okay, we are in the kind situation that we are fasting. Okay, and then the conditioned stimulus is the azan, and unconditioned response is saliva. Okay, so every time when we fasting, let's say, okay, or maybe unconditioned stimulus, I can put like your mom's cooking. Okay, the smell, right? And every time the azan, okay, the smell is already in your what we call nose, and then you will saliva, and every time the azan, you already remember, okay, this is time to break fast. So this is what we call as the models of the classical conditioning. Okay, okay, so the same thing, okay, because this is they talk like dinner's aroma, as I told just now, okay, like your mom's cooking, okay, maybe your mom's already cooked right now, I think, maybe at 5:30, okay, this is time I do my record. And then conditioned stimulus 6 o'clock, and unconditioned response is salivation. It's the same thing, okay? Every time you heard, okay, azan, let's say, it's already respond to the saliva. Okay. So we go with the example. Okay, in here they take example on uh, how the Coca-Cola or another beverage company, how they use classical condition in their marketing. So they identify the unconditioned and conditioned stimuli, the conditioned and unconditioned response. So in here, they think about the advertisement for these ads, the smiling people and the music. So um, what I'm trying to tell you all, students, I have actually made some research on this. Okay, yeah, I make some, you know, sorry. Okay, so this is example that Coke is doing their advertisement. I do not know whether you can hear it well, but you can actually just what we call Google this one, fizz it up with the Coke example on how actually Coke doing this their classical conditioning, because it relate with the smile and dance, right? Okay, so this is how it look like.
Taste the feeling, blue boy. Put the clock on you, boy. You can't miss it. Ready, get back. Tell you what the ghetto Hey, boy.
Okay, so so this is one example. Okay, so I think I should stop just now. It will be actually uh, maybe will be disturbing us, right? Okay, so that is one example. Okay, maybe you can Google more rather than me. You're better than me on this. I already put some the link there. Okay, Alright, so we move to the strategy applications of the classical conditioning. Okay, we have actually three elements here. So number one, we have repetitions. Okay, so what's mean repetition? Of course, the behavior that we're repeating the same thing again and again. Okay, in Islam, this is the thing we do when we recite a Quran, when we do something like recitation. For example, we need to repeating and repeating again because we want to make sure that we will memorize it. That is the power of um, I believe on the repetition, okay, because it can actually helps you the more on how you want to learn something, okay. All right, so the repetition is important as you can see in the red color here because it's associated with the remembered by the subject, and this is not undeniable, okay. Of course, it's too much repetition can also be problem because why when we too much it will become annoying, right? So think of the ad you can just see so many times you feel like you can stand to see it again. You might say that why this advertisement keep on appear and screen out in this my my television, for example. So this advertising wear out can be a big problem for the advertiser. So the term for those who do not know what's mean the advertising wear out, meaning to say when you are keep on seeing the same of the advertisement keep on just shown in your advertising, it's the same thing. So that one we call as advertising wear out. Okay, so that's the problem for the advertiser, the marketers, because why? That's why the reason in order to make sure that the consumer will not be bored, so they will come out with the different and keep on changing their advertisement. Okay, all right, so to increase the association between the conditions and unconditioned stimulus, as I mentioned just now, okay, because they keep ringing the bell, for example, in order to make sure that the dog might be saliva and then know the meat paste will go to the dog, for example, right? So the same thing also. So when we keep repeating, sometimes it's good. We position something like the brand towards the consumer, but in other words, in other the contrast and the bad problem is about the consumer become bored. Okay, we can because it's too much or keep repeating the same thing. And the slowest is the pace of the forgetting. Okay, of course, when they say slows the pace of forgetting, of course, tendency to remember is higher. Okay, slow the pace ni mengurangkan kadar untuk kita lupa tu kurang lah. And then advertising wear out is the problem. So this is the problem. Okay, so this is also the advertisement why the Gillette, okay, using two different ads to advertise the same product. It's the same product, but they have a two different, but repetition of the message with the very ads result in more information processing by the consumer. So it shows something like champion here. He highlight the word champions, but if you realize they have two different. This one is for squash, this one for swimming. Okay, so using your product makes something like champion is born there. So but two different products. Okay, this is good because this is marketers one. Okay, okay, so oh subhanallah, it's heavy raining okay here. So we go to the second one, stimulus generalization. Okay, so what is stimulus generalization? An example you might recognize is when we react to someone in a certain way because they remind us someone. Okay, for example, when you meet your maybe primary school friends, you remember me or not? Maybe you don't remember anymore because it's already changed, right? I'm Shalina. I'm your friend before, and I remember you. How you can remember me? How the way your style. So I can remember. Do you school in? So people keep on repeating you, remind you. All right. So this is the thing we interact with before, and stimulus generalization can be helpful as the marketers extend their product line, product form and the product category. So they try to remind, okay, maybe before this product they have chili sauce, after this they have ketchup, and then they have mayonnaise, and then they have something like tartar sauce. So they keep on doing the different of product line. Okay, so having the same response to the slightly different stimuli help me two products to succeed. Okay, so what's mean help me two product to succeed? Okay, example, if you see like 7-Eleven and KK Mart, the color is almost same, right? The building, even though we might be say 7-Eleven is quite different, it will be more uh what we call more modernized compared to Kikimart. But the color, if you realize the green and yellow color and white color is almost same. And of course, sometimes I believe that operation hours, except during this MCO time, is the same 24 hours. And you realize or not also the Coke, sometimes they come out with certain another local product exactly like this packaging. Okay, so we will confuse Oreo and cream O also mean two products. Okay, the packaging is almost similar, and then useful in product extension, family branding, and licensing. Okay, product extension means you have different extension product. Underneath they have Maggie, they have Milo, they have Nescafe, for example. Family branding, Campbell soup. They have soup, Campbell soup. Okay, they have sauce. They have mayonnaise. Okay, example, they have spaghetti. Licensing, are we talking about like we have products that have the same brand name, Nike, okay, and then Adidas. Okay, all right. So okay, this is stimulus generalization. They give example regards to, okay, I think that previous chapter, previous topic, I told you about paracetamol and the Panadol and also Upamol. Okay, because I said this product because it's have in Malaysia, but like CVS and Rite Aid is very difficult to find because this is overseas products. So when we see the product, it's same. Even though like paracetamol is white color, right? So there is no difference. But actually they have the different brand name, but the function features is same. Okay, so pull up the common categories such as the pain reliever. So when we pain, we will take and consume paracetamol. You have headache, paracetamol, for example. If you compare the packaging of the store brand to the manufacturer brand, you will see the similarity in the use of color, image, and wording. It's almost same, no different after all. So this is something like triple clean product. Okay, this is about product to clean. And how they introduce it, okay, but here they introduce something like yogurt. Okay, they have paste here like strawberry image here, meaning to say you paste the product inside here because you want to use it together. Okay, but actually I'm not so see the correlation here, but I realized for the triple clean product they show these three women and the one guy to show that the three woman here is giving three times effect. Okay, why woman? Because number one, woman is attraction. Number two is about the clean. Okay, the cleaning task. Okay, so it's just giving to the woman. Of course, it will be triple clean. Significance of the advertisement. All right. Okay, and then we go with the this product category extension is something like, I think like juice. Okay, they have something like raspberry in here. So they used to just show here, okay, product extension by having a difference of flavor, example, okay. Okay, and then we go with the stimulus discrimination. Okay, so if you want to know, stimulus discrimination is opposite towards the stimulus generalization. Okay, so stimulus discrimination is about closely linked to the concept of positioning. So the marketers want to think of their product differently that the rest that you are looking at the share in the grocery store. So when you look into their product, it totally will look different. Okay, using the example of the brand Tylenol. Tylenol is like paracetamol just now. The manufacturer would want you to know that is superior to the store brand. I believe that you might know the prominent name like Panadol. Okay, awak rasa saya ada masa untuk sakit kepala, for example, that is the tagline, right? So in other way around, if you go to the pharmacist, they might ask you which one you want, Panadol, because Panadol is not the product. Sorry, Panadol is the brand name. The product is pain reliever. Okay, so we have Upamol, we have the another KK, for example, they have other types of the brand name. But like me, I favor on Upamol because I for me it's like more effective on me. Huh? Okay, so they say in here, a selection of the specific stimulus from similar stimuli, opposite of stimulus generalization, as I told just now. This discrimination is basis of the positioning which look for unique ways to fill the needs. Okay, so if you want something your needs to fulfill, you will look in a different way. Okay, I give example. In here, they just said stimulus discrimination, product differentiation, ridiculously thick yogurt. Okay, and if you realize this picture shows something like they have a space here, and then to show that something like we look this yogurt in a different way. Oh, this is how they're picturing it, the thick one, right? Okay, so the second one we have the instrumental operant conditioning, a behavioral theory of learning based on the try and error. We try error. Okay, process with the habit force as the result of the positive experiences, reinforcement resulting from the certain responses or behavior. Okay, as you can see in here, this is the model of the instrumental conditioning, and you can see this is something like the thing that mostly we as the consumer do, okay, and did when we want to buy. For example, if let's say no MCO right now, we go to a shopping mall, we have to try our for Hari Raya wear, right? So we might try the first brand A might be because this is example they give for those who want to try jeans, for example, unrewarded the legs too loose, okay, and then try brand B, unrewarded also the tight in seat. Try brand C, unrewarded the baggy in seat, and try brand D is perfect fit. So it's 4 times it's already trying this what we call a fitting room, right? Okay, so after you try and error, okay, this will be giving repeated behavior. Okay, same thing. Try A, not okay. Go B, not okay. C, not okay. And then go for D is the perfect one. Alright. So reinforcement of the behavior. What actually the behavior that reinforce us to do that? Okay, we have two. Okay, we have positive and also negative. The effect. Okay, so we're talking about positive outcome. It strengthen the likelihood. Positive reinforcement. You see the red color here. The positive reinforcement is a good thing that happen which rewards the behavior going to the gym, for example, making you feel good so you can go every day. For those who are gym lover, you like exercise, okay, so you might go in order to have the positive vibe, encourage to because you like it so much. But for the negative outcome, they encourage the behavior too. But in here, okay, if you see in the red color one, the negative outcome is a bad thing that happens which encourage the behavior because they have a bad thing. For example, you eat donut every morning for breakfast, so they gain a load of the weight, naik berat badan. So over the past week, so in order to you to go to gym because you want to actually to stop you from eating donut and to lose your weight, okay, so it's different if you realize. So positive because you love to do it, negative because after you get the negative effect and then you have to do these kinds of things. But still also the same enforcement. Reinforcement is same. Go to gym. Okay. Alright. So extinction, okay, a learned response is no longer reinforced. Sorry, a learned response is no longer reinforced. The link is eliminated between stimulus and reward. Okay, if the response is forgotten, it can be brought back just by remembering. So that's mean extinction. They say in here, a learned response is no longer reinforced. Maksudnya, the learning, okay, that you learn is not by reinforce you. Okay, so they say in here this thing is will be eliminated between the stimuli and also the reward. Okay, before this, for example, I give example very simple during Ramadan time. Okay, during our kid times, your parents said if you fasting for 1 day, I will give you 10 ringgit. Okay, but during kid time, because we have this reward, right? So we will go for fast because of the reward. But when we already grew up, okay, your parents will not actually reinforce you to fast because you already know your responsibility, right? So you will say, I will fasting because it's from Allah. Okay, Allah will to ask me to fasting during Ramadan time. It's not because of the reward. So that is what we call extinction because there is no stimulus and reward. Okay, of course, inshallah, we have the rewards from the Allah Almighty in the year after, right? Because we fasting, it give a good deeds, and then of course we have that rewards. But what I'm trying to say in the physical rewards like this, okay? So totally there will be tendency to have, we just discipline ourselves to fast because of no reward after all. It's just we need some reward from Allah, okay, something like that. Okay, so we will fasting. So that is the learn on how we fasting, okay? And forgetting, the reinforcement is forgotten, okay? So if it is thing, is unlearned, okay? They say it here, if it is in extinct, okay, it is unlearned. The link between the stimulus and the response is destroyed. Because why? It's already totally forget. Okay, we forget because we do not know what we did before, and not give any particular motivation to you to remember. So it's forgetful. Okay, this happens when you say, do you remember me? No, I don't think so. So you feel like being rejected, right? When people like tendency to forget you because there is no something like special moment, for example. Okay, mostly people when they remember things, there must be a chemistry there. There must be a memory, but there is no memory there. I don't think they will remember. They try to forget, or especially for the bad memory. Okay, they try to actually delete from their memory, right? Okay, so we go to the next one. Okay, so this we have the strategy application on the instrumental conditioning. Okay, we have the first one, customer satisfaction reinforcement. Okay, means that each time when the customer has experience with the product or company, they have a positive reinforcement. This is will reason the relationship marketing is so important. So to see in this statement, when your customer is satisfied, totally they will repeat again because they have positive experience, positive effect towards by buying your product. But if there is negative effect, no satisfaction, the customer will move on. They will go to another product. So we go with the reinforcement schedule. They can be total or continuous reinforcement, systematic fixed ratio reinforcement, okay, and then random variable ratio reinforcement schedule. Okay, marketers will often use random reinforcement as the bonus for the customer and fixed reinforcement as the loyalty points or reward. Okay, example. Okay, so mostly when we're talking about continuous reinforcement, okay, example. Okay, continuous in reinforcement. Let's say you go to buy coffee, Starbucks. Let's say, example. Okay, if you keep continuous reinforcement, because once you buy the coffee, they will do some. Okay, let's say I take like McDonald's. Okay, you go to like McCafe. Every time you buy something like McCafe drink, they will give stamping to you the card, right? So this will be reinforced to you to go because why? Because it's continuous. Every time you go, they will stamp. Every time you go, you stamp. Okay. And then for the fixed reinforcement, they said loyalty points or reward. When you go for the sixth time, you will get the free one. After you fulfill all the sixth time, you get the free one. So that one is considered like um what we call fixed ratio reinforcement. Okay. I think I have sample, but yeah, later. Okay. All right. Shaping, okay, occurs by having the reinforcement before the behavior occurs. In this situation, the consumer can be given the offer or reward before they actually make their decision and purchase a product. So, this is something like you have to be given certain of picture, okay, before you make the behavior to occur. Okay. Uh, they say in here the consumer can be given the offer of the rewards before they actually make the decision and purchase of the product. Okay, let's see. Okay, um, you are sending your car in order to go for a service. Let's say. Okay, uh, before you send, okay, waiting for your car to be services. Okay, the turns might be the long queue, especially during this Hari Raya. Okay, before this, of course, not this time. Okay, go for service. And then what they offer to you, they shaping you by asking you to wait, okay, in one room, and then they treat you with something like a good things, okay, like I might say maybe not in Ramadan time, let's say, they will serve you drinks, serve you food, because you want feel something like enjoyment while waiting for the service to be done for you. So before the behavior, okay, this is what we call that shaping. So maybe we can say also like offer or reward. Maybe before you buying a house, let's say. Maybe before you buy car, let's say, you have the shaping by test the car first. Okay, driving test. Okay, yeah, driving test car, right? So there will be the seller sit next to you, and then you will feel the shaping. Okay, all right. The mass versus distributed learning. Should the learning and exposure to the stimuli happen in relatively short period of time or to be drawn out? Okay, so this one, certain of the action, sometimes we learn whether it's short for a long time. Okay, so whether it mass or they will be distributed from time to time. Okay, right. So we have also this observation learning, modeling, or vicarious learning, a process by which individuals learn behavior by observing the behavior of others and the consequences of the such behavior. So it occurs not to respond directly to the consumer, but by observation. Mostly they observe it, then they know. Okay, the behavior and response of others. So marketers use the role models in their purchasing, in their advertising, so there's the consumer can understand the rewards of the purchasing the advertiser product. So they use the role model, something like the role model that can attract you. When I see that the celebrity is using something like dress, it's very nice to put in this because the role model. So based on the observation, that's why mostly marketers they try to look into the role models that fit enough for their product, especially that those what we call apparel and so forth. Okay, but if let's say the product like consumer product, they like a food drink, for example, they have to make sure that, for example, medication, right? They have to make sure that the people who are consume the product also look very healthy. Okay, so the information processing and cognitive learning. So this is 6.3. So cognitive learning, what is cognitive learning? Okay, cognitive learning mostly cognitive mean thinking. Okay, how we learn through thinking. So the focus on the problem solving and consumer thinking is closely tied to the information processing and how the consumer store, retain and retrieve the information. Macam mana seseorang pengguna itu menyimpan, memegang ataupun mengeluarkan maklumat. Okay, so this is how they say it. Learning involves the complex mental process of information and emphasize the role of motivation. Alright, so as you can see in here, they have the information processing and memory. Okay, they have the large blocks in the process. They have three places where the consumer will store information before processing. So what is the three blocks? Okay, we have sensory store, we have memory, working memory, short-term store, and then we have long-term store. Okay, so what is sensory store? Okay, sensory store is very short-term, as you can see in the red color here. It is where the image or sound will last for just a few minutes and then they will be forget. So meaning to say they only just restore in your sensory store, only temporary store. Okay, you remember and then you don't remember at all. Okay, okay. So we start with the sensory input first, and then they move to the sensory store, and then they will rehearse. Rehearse meaning practice, and then the short-term store is the stage where information is processed. Similarly to the sensory store, it's just for the brief time. Let's say you remember one song, and then you listen to, I don't remember, I just listen one song, blah, 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 something like, uh, uh, maybe for example, like, Dendang Perantau, di Hari Raya, for example. Then I don't remember. And then you keep repeating rehearsal it again. Ku terdengar daku, or something like that. So you will working your memory to rehearse and repeat the song again. Okay, and it will encode into your mind and store, and then information will be moved through the encoding to the long-term store. Information here can be lost for relatively extended period of time, especially when the song have certain like chemistry with you all. Okay, they have something like related to you all, so they will be have long-term store. Okay, memory with you all, and then retrieve. And you can see every a single of these box, they have forgotten to lost, forgotten and lost, forgotten and available. Only the long-term store have forgotten or can be unavailable. Okay, unavailable. Okay, so then we go, we have rehearsal, encoding and retrieval. Move information from one place to the next. So rehearsal can done either by repeating the informations or relating to the other data. So if you have long enough, the information can be encoded. Encoded means boleh dirakam lah, okay? Or given a word or visual image to represent the objects. And retention through note shown on this process chart describe what happened with the information in the long-term storage, okay? As it's retained, is constantly organized and reorganized. Finally, retrieval, the last stage of our process, describe of how we recover information, especially for those who maybe have loss of their memory, right? So after a long time, maybe the memory come back after maybe sleep down, or maybe um they fell into one place and then remember back, and then, oh, I remember this is my name, I become someone like that. So the situational cues are the most common reason to retrieve information. So cues something like maybe environment, maybe the certain things, product, or any memory related that might be cues, okay, to the information. All right. So we have the theoretical model of cognitive learning. So what you have to know here, we have generic framework, we have knowledge, KEB, knowledge, evaluation, and behavior here. So you can just see promotion model, free computer model, decision making model, innovation adaptation model, innovation decision process, and yeah, I let you to read this one. Okay. So involvement and passive learning topic, we have definition and measure of the involvement. And then we have marketing applications of the involvement, central and peripheral routes to persuasions, and then ephemeral lateralization and passive learning. Okay, passive learning. So they have a lot of bombastic words here. Okay, so what is involvement? Okay, so involvement is the degree of the personal relevance that the product or purchase hold for that customer. So when the customer have high involvement with the product, so they are very important to the consumer. Okay, high involvement purchase. Okay, and when they have low involvement, whole little relevance, have little perceived risk, and having limited information processing. I give example. Why do IKEA product? They create their product DIY concept. For example, do it yourself at home, because they want to have the customer to have high involvement towards their product. Compared to the ready product, we just buy, let's say you want to buy table. We just buy the table from the furniture shop. It's different from IKEA. When you buy, I want the table, but you have to actually assemble the table. You have to do it yourself. So when you do it yourself, you have high involvement, okay, purchase compared to the low involvement. Same thing when we want to pay our product, right? So in IKEA, they ask you to wrap the things yourself. So that is high involvement. And I realize also the certain like retailers also start to give the plastic, you wrap yourself during this MCO time. I give you plastic, you put your things your own. In Aeon Big, that is what they do. So that is high involvement purchase. Low involvement meaning to say you already have it. So you just take it and clean your hand, everything is already. So they are very limited in terms of the information processing. Okay, so this is the measuring involvement with the advertisement. Again, so you can read your own, right? So this is marketing applications of the involvement. We have ads in video games. Okay, so actually in your slide, if you realize, I put the 4 points, but in here I come out with the some of my additional notes. Okay, ads in the video games. You realize this is a game, something like they playing with like war here. Okay, but they have Pepsi, Coke, Exxon, Mobile, Walmart. Okay, 2 in 1. Okay, they advertise on retailers and also the certain brand in here. Avatar, they create something like here, faces. Sometimes the avatar can be, I realize certain phone, like iPhone, right? You can create as your face there, okay? All right, and then we have sensory appeals in ad to get more attention. Okay, they have fries, but they stress on the new satisfaction, okay, satisfaction to attract the attention. 40% less fat, meaning to say maybe they use a very unique of I do not know, French fries, I don't know, and then 30% less calories. Okay, this is by the Burger King. And forging the bonds and relationship with the customer, meaning consumer satisfaction. So you realize this is what the Coke do. Share a Coke and song always on my mind. So hashtag share a Coke. So you give something like bonding in words, something like love products there. Huh? I'm loving it, for example, right? And then put a little love in your heart. So this is by Diet Coke here, okay? So we go with the central and peripheral routes to persuasions. Okay, we have central routes to persuasion. Okay, we have the first one. Okay, what means central route to persuasion? When a product is of high importance, a consumer is likely putting through the advertising and examine details in information. Okay, so they have 4 high involvement purchases and require cognitive processing. So they need thinking. Right. For example, you want to think, when I want to buy a house, what should I think? Okay. What are the things that I have to consider? Where is the location? Is it far from my working place? So everything has to think. Okay. So peripheral routes to persuasion, if the purchase is lower involvement, so the consumer is more likely to be persuaded by music, pictures, and short slogan in the ads. Okay, I'm loving it. So because of this, everybody love it. Everyone can fly from Asia. So by just slogans, you will attract After all, Malaysia Airlines, okay, and also it's just equivalent, right? Okay, the price will be when you have the hidden cost, okay, everyone can fly, the money is flying too, okay, right? So that is short slogan. They can abstract you music, pictures, okay, and which we often see. You see, law involvement, which we often see for the law involvement product, especially on television advertising. So we not actually involved in there, right? We just see it, watch it. I give example like Kumami, I'll just see it. So I will be attracted to see it. And I realize they purposely um, show these kinds of advertisement during before, right? Asar prayer time, okay? Because they know the potential that consumer are very um, yeah, triggered to buy that things during that time, right? And then consumer less motivated to think, learning through repetition, visual cues, and holistic perceptions. Okay, so this is about hemispherical lateralization and passive learning. Okay, so hemispherical lateralization is about something like split brain theory. We have uh, left brain versus right brain. Okay, for those who are writing using right hand, like me, a right hand, we are thinking on the left brain. But if you are tendency to write on the left hand, you are right brain. Okay, so if you rewrite left brain, mostly they are very rational, they're active, and also they are very realistic. So we, okay, so right brain, they are very emotional, they are very metaphor. Metaphor means something like uh they give clue, they want to talk something, right? Okay, like we are clueless, we do not know, so we are straight on. We are rational people, we are straight to the point. Okay, and then impulsive, intuitive, there are researchers who prove that learning occurs in the passive way from watching television. So consumers see an ad and is absorbed and they process by the right brain. So through repeated exposure, the consumer could in effect purchase the product without even having a change in their attitudes. Okay, so we go to the next one. What is the name of the learning theory concept featured in this ad, and how is it applied to the air travel? Okay, so this have left brain and right brain. And right brain say it's cool, I can now across my leg in a coach. So in the left brain, they say I have American is creating more room throughout the coach cabin by removing seat over blah 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 blah. So they have a lot of here. Okay, so yeah, it's about left brain. Okay, so the ad is targeted to the right brain. Okay, so this is about something like toothpaste. Okay, protect the tooth, dentist check most. And we go with the measure on the consumer learning brand loyalty. We have recognition and recall measure. So what is brand loyalty? So when we're talking about recognition and recall, test determine whether consumer remembers seeing an ad and the extent to which they can recall the ad. Dia boleh mengingat semula, mengulang kembali the ad. Okay, the researcher can use added recall, and which would rely as recognition as opposed to unadded recall. Okay, so added recall ni mostly you just see the advertisement. Oh, so this is advertisement, like you see the yellow color. If maybe some of you remember the DG yellow man, right? Oh, so this is the yellow man is dancing. So this is DG advertisement, for example. But for those who are maybe not remember, so the contrast word is unadded recall. Unadded recall meaning to say you have to give some question, to give some clues. Okay, so for example, you have to test the audience. Is shown an advertisement and then quiz about the brand. Okay, um, maybe you can ask them, what is the slogan for Nike? Just do it, for example, right? So that is unaided recall. So this is the sum of this diagram. They have three groups of the factors, okay, on the brand loyalty. Okay, before we go further, what is brand loyalty? Includes attitudes and behavior towards the brand. Behavior measures are observable, whereas the attitudinal measure are concerned with the consumer feelings about the brand. So we have three groups of the factor. We have the personal degree of the risk aversion or variety seeking, the brand reputation and availability of substitutes, social group influences. Okay, and then we have 4 types of the loyalty. We have no loyalty, cavities loyalty, inertia loyalty, and premium loyalty. So as you can see, the brand equity, the value inherent in the well-known brand names. And then if you realize in here, okay, I give also some the footnotes, okay, in the red color. These 3 factors can lead to the 4 types of the loyalty, including no loyalty. No loyalty means you're not loyal after all. Covetous loyalty, which is no purchase but strong attachment to the brand. Okay, you not buy, but you loyal. You keep saying this brand is very good. Okay, and then inertia loyalty, which is purchasing the brand out of the habit or convenient with no attachment. Okay, you purchase is like a habit, okay, and you convenience but no attachment after all. And premium loyalty, which is high attachment to the brand. High attachment meaning you obsess, you must have the product, if not I cannot go live, I cannot be confident without this product, for example. So like just now I think like I'm inertia loyalty, you purchase, okay, but if there is no product after all, you can find out the what we call alternative product, but you are don't have some attachment. You're not too obsessed compared to like premium loyalty. Okay. All right. So I'm done. Okay. It's take me around 1 hour also. Okay. So if you realize there is a lot of infographic here, loyalty is a money, of course. Customer experience management is the new CRM. CRM stands for customer relationship management. Loyalty is of the utmost importance because when your customer is loyal, no need to go for extensive or excessive marketing because they already know what you want to say to them, what you want to promote to them. Just invite them, they will buy. Okay, so that is brand loyalty, customer. And then we have data sources are increasing through smartphone, tablets, Internet of Things. Location data importing is rising. So where are the marketers investing now? According to the statistics, 75% spent offline. Okay, it's different from this time around. I think that this sources is no more valid. Okay, now it's more online. Okay, 60% plan to spend on content, 50% more on outsource the marketing, 25% spend online. So it's different. Right now it's online digital marketing. So this is like, yeah, you can read your own. Okay, all right. Conclusion, you can learn great things, okay, from your mistake when you are not busy denying them. That is learning, of course. If you keep denying, this is not my fault, this is not my work, this is not, actually you're rejecting your own. Okay, you are not learning. So I believe, okay, learning is the process. We keep make a mistake and we learn from the mistake. Okay, thank you so much for listening to my lecture, video lecture today. I apologize for anything might be sound lacking. Okay, the weaknesses is come from me and the best is come from Almighty. So Alhamdulillah, we'll meet you next topic, topic 7 will be next week. Okay, inshallah, I will upload. Now I will upload in your. So stay safe, stay home, and stay healthy. I pray for you guys because it's around the corner. Okay, it's only left for a few weeks. It's just short semester, right? Okay, for your final exam. Okay, I know I don't want to actually make you scared, but I want you to be prepared because what we do right now is all blessing from Allah and do not waste it. Okay, grab the opportunity, inshallah. So stay safe, stay healthy. I keep mentioning, right? Stay healthy, and then um, yeah, happy breakfast after Maghrib. Yeah, okay. Assalamualaikum. Bye.